Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
A man by the name of Eric Thomas said this, and he said it very well. We should all get to the point where we get allergic to being average. Never, never think average. Amen. Good morning, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. And a good morning to you and yours. Oh, my goodness, as we draw closer and closer to Christmas, we are 15 days away. Good morning, I'm Zeb Bell, and of course, this is Zeb at the Ranch, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and of course, also some of our great advertisers, like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My friend.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Doug, I appreciate it, and I know you'll be calling back in a little bit. Have a great day, my dear friend. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, before we go any further, I want to acknowledge this. Wheels is back, and we just absolutely want to welcome him back and say thank you for all that he's done in the past, and we look forward to working with him today and on in the future. Take care of yourself, old friend. But we also want to say a big thank you to Sean for filling in last week while Wheels was on the mend. So both of them, Merry Christmas. Right now it's time for the weather forecast, and brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. Absolutely the best tools and equipment you need to finish any project or construction project, whatever. They've got all the heaters, too, all the sewer snakes. They've got it all for you at K&R Rental with Roger and the crew. Right now, they're located again at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. Here's Gina with the weather.
Expect some snow showers for this week. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Today is not going to be too bad. We're looking at mostly sunny skies with a high of 35. Tonight, we do have a slight chance of snow showers in the forecast, about a 30% chance, and areas of patchy freezing fog, low of 28. For tomorrow, that fog could persist in the morning. That's going to burn off. Mostly sunny skies by tomorrow afternoon with a high of 33. By tomorrow night, 60% chance of snow showers are likely. The winds are going to be picking up as well with a low of 30. Blowing snow, about a 50% chance of snow showers, accumulations of about an inch for Wednesday with a high of 36. Then blowing snow and partly cloudy skies for Wednesday night and a low of 20. And that's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Woo! It sounds like winter. That's what it is, Zebber. More weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. Number to call, ask questions, you should. Roger and the crew are there ready to serve you at 678-3122. K&R Rental wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Really nice people. By the way, when I talk about nice people, I've also got to highlight the fact that we have had Kevin and Cindy and the crew from Daryl's Cleaners. Cleaners? No, there's no R there. Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, with us for years and years. They do the absolute best of cleaning your clothes and also washing your clothes. If you don't have time to do the wash and take it in, they'll wash, dry, fold, and iron all your clothes, just like Mom used to. At Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Calls are welcome and very much appreciated this morning. So give us a jingle on the landline, and we've got a lot of subjects to talk about and some really good guests coming on the program. So give us a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. At 11 o'clock this morning, Burley Livestock Sale Yard is going to be presenting the third annual Bred Cow Sale. This is a special sale today, Monday, December 10th. You don't want to miss this. They're going to have over 1,200 really good quality cows and heifers, top genetics, one iron cattle. All of this morning at 11 o'clock at Burley Livestock Sale Yard. And for more information, quickly call 678-9411. This is going to be a really good sale. All right, it's your turn. Give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It looks like, honestly, it looks like the next 2 years are going to be ones of contention and animosity and nothing done, and the House fighting with the Senate, vice versa, Nancy Pelosi, the Democrats, Adam Schiff, Chuck Schumer. It looks like it's going to be nothing more than a hate Trump and try to throw Trump out of office. I listened over the weekend, and one of the mousiest, I wonder if that's a word, wussiest little creatures that represent the Democratic Party, Adam Schiff, and others of his ilk, are now yelling and screaming for jail time for President Trump. Schiff said Trump will be the first president to go behind bars. Now, this is not what we should have to expect for the next 2 years. I thought maybe the Democrats would show some common sense, which I know that's asking a lot, actually too much, and they would take over the House with Nancy Pelosi and say, you know what, in order to get back and earn the respect of America, we're going to have to show America that we can govern and do things for our constituents. That's not going to be the case. I honestly believe that we are going to see nothing but chaos. I think what's happening, and boy, don't criticize me, this is the way I feel, and I think it's going to happen. This is an opinion program, and I'm going to give it to you. I think we could very easily see what's happening in France happen here. Chaos, unrest, just an absolute, totally defunct government because of the Democrats wanting to go after one thing, hate and animosity against Donald Trump because they lost the election in 2016. You know, they make some frivolous, stupid claims to the American public and also to the news media. The Democrats have been claiming election fraud and mismanagement of political funds. Let us not forget, the Obama administration had to pay $375 million in penalties for election fraud. I want to say that again. The Obama administration had to pay $375 million in penalties for election fraud. Not one time was there ever any jail time mentioned. Not one time were there Republicans on the air demanding the head on a platter of Barack Obama. The fine was levied, the fine was paid. But in this case, where they're saying there was election fraud, they want Donald Trump out of there and behind bars. Your thoughts, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I'm waiting for your calls to come in, which I hope we have many, many, many of them this morning. Rest my sore throat. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley for all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. You know, they've been in business over 6 decades. That's a long time to have a highly successful business, and it's growing. It's growing to serve you with the best of professional people and everything you need at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday. Don't forget the best, Ramsey Heating and Electric. Okay, we are just a couple of days away from the old-fashioned Denny's Christmas party. Every year we have this. We just absolutely enjoy it because of all the nice people that come on down. We're going to be broadcasting live and direct from Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley this Thursday, December 13th. It's our Christmas party. We're going to have Christmas carols. We're going to have lots and lots of prizes to give away. Santa Claus is going to be there. I got to call Santa later on at the North Pole and verify his reindeer are going to drop him off. And we're going to have Loot in the Boot to help needy families. Ashley Ludlow's going to be providing the music. All of this at America's Diner. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. We will see you there. Going to be a lot of fun. Please come on down. And I got to take care of this real quick. We're going to also wish Merry Christmas wishes from AMI 719 Overland and Burley. Look for the big 28-foot wrench over the door and go nuts over their bolts. I love that. They wish all their customers a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. AMI 719 Overland in Burley, along with Clark's for Shopping. Hello, Clark's. How you doing up there at 100 East Main in Oakley? They've got that great, famous sausage from Grandma's great recipe in bulk patties or links. Boy, what a way to make the Christmas morning great with breakfast with that sausage. All of this and more at Clark's for Shopping in Oakley. And last but not least, Dot Foods, 1541 West 27th Street in Burley, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas, and a thank you for making Dot Foods the nation's largest food industry redistributor. Really good folks at Dot Foods. All right, calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Would somebody call me and let me know if you had an opportunity or occasion to listen to or read about the testimony of James Comey, former FBI director that was at that Senate hearing the other day? You almost have to giggle. I mean, seriously, you almost have to go tee-hee and giggle when you watch and listen and read about what was said, or most noticeably, what wasn't said. Here is a man that was the head of the FBI. The head of the FBI. The all-knowing, all-seeing, and all-getting the information FBI. And over almost 200 occasions during the questioning, James Comey, the former head of the FBI, said, well, I can't recall. Or, well, I don't know. Or, I don't remember. This smug, egotistical snob, James Comey, should be thrown in jail. I mean, what a mockery when senators were asking questions, and here's a guy that is supposed to be the head of the FBI, the most knowledgeable, the most information-seeking industry that we have, and I'll say industry because it's a huge, huge occupation and business of the United States, and he can't remember, or he can't recall, or he just didn't know. What a laughable joke. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
It's called running out the clock.
Yep.
It's exactly what it is, and I feel we should have equal justice, which what the special counsel has done to Manafort needs to happen to Comey.
You know,
because Manafort has not been charged with anything, well, found guilty of anything. He's been charged. But he's been in solitary confinement for how many months?
Doug, I have never in my life, and I'm an old man, older than you, I've never seen the law be twisted and shredded and turned into mincemeat to where you are guilty until proven innocent. This is absolutely insane that they put Manafort. I'm not standing up for the guy. I don't like the guy. But what I'm saying is, and I agree with you, here's a guy that they haven't even made the proof on the guilty, and he's been spending time in solitary confinement. You got to be kidding me.
Exactly. And the Republicans need to take a page out of Mueller's book and have a U.S. Marshal sitting there and say, well, Mr. Comey, you're going to solitary until you can remember some stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
you want to play dirty? You know, we need to start fighting fire with fire.
Well,
Democrats, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that fighting fire with fire sounds good, but, you know, I honestly don't believe, Doug, and I want you to respond to this. I don't believe that the Republicans on their side of the aisle have enough backbone to put on a pair of boxing gloves and defend themselves.
Well, they'll be exposed for the fraud they are, and they are being exposed for the fraud they are, where they said they're back there fighting for us, they're going to repeal Obamacare. That was their motto for what? 6 years?
Yeah.
And they didn't do it. And when they had a chance to do it, they didn't have anything ready to replace it. I mean, they have been lying to us. The Senate, the Congress, all the people back there representing have been lying to the American people, say that we're fixing the problem, when they have been doing nothing except sitting back on our money and getting rich.
Yeah, but there's really a group of people that are more liable for this problem than any others, including our senators and congressmen. You know who that group of people is?
The Democrats?
Nope. The American public. We are not demanding, and I mean demanding, with our fist clenched or around their little short part of the necktie. We are not demanding that things get done. We are the ones that are the most culpable for this because we're not demanding.
I agree with you there. I agree 100%. And that's when every person out there that is fed up with what's going on back in Washington needs to get on the phone, needs to call their congressmen and their representatives, and needs to tell them, you work for us. If it wasn't for us, you would not have a paycheck.
Yeah, let's turn this a little bit broader over to Paris, France, and the surrounding suburbs of Paris, France. I was in a conversation with a guy the other day, and it got a little testy, which is fine. I don't care. When I made the statement on the radio last week, and I did, that what's happening over in Paris, France, easily and maybe and will happen here in the United States. And I said on the air last week that if under the circumstances that happens here in this country, I would support the chaos because of the idiocy that's being shown by the government. And I meant that. And that's what's happening right now with the Democrats. I mean, you've got Adam Schiff and you got Nadler and you got the rest of these guys that are too lazy to do any common work, so they went to work in politics and sit on their fat fannies and don't do anything. They're always saying they're going to do this. They're going to go get Trump. They're going to put him in jail. Everything else. It's going to be impeached, or we're going to have jail time. Do they ever say what they're going to do for the American public?
No. They have such a hatred for Trump because he is an outsider that is coming in and is getting something done, even if he has the 95% negative news about him on mainstream media.
Yeah.
And he's still getting something done, and they don't like it because he's upsetting their apple cart and their free ride.
And this is the thing, Doug, and it's the same with me on this program. I'm an old man. I've relished all the time I've had on the radio. I relish all the friendships. I relish all the great things that have happened. But is that a reason to back up and just kind of live on your laurels? No, I'm going to stick them in the eye when they need it, and they need it. And we also need it. We need to absolutely have a fire under our feet to jump up and say, you know what, this is enough, and demand, whether it's Crapo, whether it's Risch, whether it's Simpson, a lot of luck there, and everybody else. We need to absolutely start demanding things get done, or the answer is simple. They're gone.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Apathy has taken over.
Yep.
We have become complacent with, it's not going to happen to me. Well, when they start coming for your rights, like they are, the left is coming for your rights. And if you don't stand up for all of them, when it comes to the right that you really cherish, there won't be nobody left to stand up for yours.
Well, I had a lady, and she's a nice lady, but she made a comment to me the other day on my cell phone that, you shouldn't get so worked up. I mean, what's going to be is going to be. And I said to her, ma'am, no, I don't want that kind of to be going to be. I don't want that to happen for my grandsons. I don't want it to happen for future generations. I don't want to see our Constitution devalued and thrown away. I said, I'm going to fight, and I'm going to keep on fighting.
Exactly, and they're going to keep poking this sleeping dog, those Democrats are, and the liberals that want to impeach. They're going to keep poking that dog, and then one day it's going to wake up, and it's going to bite them, and there's going to be more chaos in this country. There'll be a second Revolutionary War.
Yeah. And that's not to say that you want it, but it's to say that it's looming on the horizon.
They keep pushing. Eventually, we will push back.
Yep. Doug, I got to run. Give your senior spiel. I'm running late. Thank you.
All righty. Everybody, let's do what we can for our senior centers this holiday season. Let's think about them for just a little gift under the tree. They would really appreciate it. And also, go eat lunch at a senior center if you want to have a fabulous time.
All right, Doug. Thank you, my friend. God bless you. Thank you very much. We're going to give away some cookies in a minute, but first of all, I want to remind you about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. That's 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with Nick Greenwell and his entire staff. I'm telling you, folks, they are the best at what they do. Complete analysis of what you have, what you need, how they want to get you there. It's absolutely great. I urge you to give them a call and let them help you get back to being you. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Don't forget, tomorrow on Tuesday at 9:46, it's time for the great Stotz Equipment Company Ag Minute. And we're very appreciative of Vic and the whole crew giving you a lot of information about agriculture at Stotz Equipment Company, your John Deere dealer at 119 Overland and Burley. They make your life easier. Caller, good morning. You're on the air quickly, and then I've got to give away some cookies. Go.
Good morning, Zeb. Comey is just following Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton's playbook. The same thing, same testimony you get from them, you get from him. These Democrats have learned to train each other how to be deceptive and corrupt and dishonest. And it just makes me sick to my stomach when I hear stuff like that.
Well, it should all of us, but there again, Jerry, and I think you're going to be fair-minded about this. The reason that they get away with it, the reason that they might waste the next 2 years is because we are not demanding otherwise.
Well, I think we are. The other people in the country aren't.
Well, that's true.
I'm upset with our Congress people in Congress.
Yeah.
I'm upset with the Senate, and I'm upset with the House because they are not doing their job. And they should be fired, every last single man.
I agree. You will not get an argument with me, and I'm now a new perpetrator of term limits, and once you're done, bounce them like a basketball down the steps of the House or the Senate and kick them out of there and send them home. I am fed up with a lackadaisical, not do anything attitude, and I think you agree.
I agree, and there's another thing that really bothers me is this United Nations.
Yep.
They're trying to get the price of gas up to $50 a gallon from what they were talking about on TV last night.
Yeah.
That's their goal in the near future. If they do that, they've wiped out our country.
There's nobody that can exist.
They've just absolutely wiped out this country that way. That would be an easy way of destroying the United States of America and every other country in the world. And it's just absolute insane.
Yeah, it is.
Insane.
It is.
That people will go along with this kind of crap.
I agree with you. Jerry, I got to give away some cookies, but I appreciate your call. God bless you, man. Merry Christmas.
You eat them all.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Lord bless you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Holy moly. We're going to give away some cookies quickly to Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, what a restaurant. Ooh. Oh, what a bakery. All the cookies and the pies and the muffins and the wedding cakes. I mean, they can do it all, and it's phenomenal. Phenomenal. All right, here's the question today from Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. And the first person to call is going to win with the right answer. Right answer. It's a Christmas question. All of Santa's elves have this Christmas ornament on their shoes. All of Santa's elves have this Christmas ornament on their shoes. What is that ornament? Give me a call quickly at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. All of Santa's elves have what Christmas ornament on their shoes? Give me a call, and you can win the cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox. While I'm waiting for your call, I'm also going to tell you about Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street. Caller, I'll be right there. Near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. 678-1177 is the number to call. And believe me, Dr. Bill, Dr. Jordan, the whole crew really care about your animals. All of them. Mixed animal practice, big or small, they love them all and take care of them all, too. You can bet on that. So be sure and get a hold of them today. Ark Animal Hospital in Hayburn. 678-1177, where they have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Would what you're looking for be bells?
Who is this?
This is Ray Helm.
Ray Helm. Well, you really know your elves and the clothing and attire because it is a bell, and you have won the cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox. And get over there, call them first and let them know when you'll be over to pick them up, okay?
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
Thank you very much. Bye. That's right. They all had a little bell on their shoes. That's right. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This is your elf headquarters here. Oh, my goodness. Thanks to Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. By the way, in just a matter of a couple of hours, that great big third annual bread cow sale. Special sale is going to be at Burley Livestock. It's this morning at 11 o'clock. Over 1,200 really good quality cows and heifers with top genetics and mostly one iron cattle. This is going to happen this morning at 11 o'clock at Burley Livestock. Don't miss it. For information, quickly call 678-9411. Starts at 11 this morning, that third annual bread cow sale, Burley Livestock. Don't you miss it. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Wheels, did you happen to do a little detective work on those two songs that I asked about?
I did. They're both in the computer, and so would you like me to load one of them up for the 9 o'clock hour?
No. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to have you do is when we get closer to the end of this hour, we are going to play what now the so-called left fanatics and freaks are calling unacceptable music. We are going to play Baby It's Cold Outside, going into the news, and then later on this morning, old buddy, I'll call you for Rudolph, all right?
All right, that sounds great. I hope that it raises someone's feathers.
Okay, I do too.
Ridiculous as to why they don't like that music.
Amen. Thank you, Wheels. I appreciate it. Just be ready when I call for it. I appreciate it.
Will do.
What we're going to do, I'm not going to stand by and let songs that have been a part of our culture and a part of our season be trounced upon by the insidious left. I don't want to be politically correct. Now, the other day, someone said, well, are you afraid of hurting someone's feelings? I thought about that, and I said, no, when the majority wants to hear that song or the majority wants anything. The minority, if they don't have the majority voice, go sit down in the corner and just please don't ruffle feathers. And these songs have been a part of our culture for a long, long time. Now, they can twist and turn the lyrics. There are those that will listen to Baby It's Cold Outside, and they will say, oh, that's terrible. Why, we can't be listening to that on the radio. We've got to have it shut down. And many cowards, many of those without a backbone and a spine have. But I will not. I specifically asked Wheels before we went on the program this morning to make sure that Baby It's Cold Outside was available to play, as is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Now, a lot of you might think this is making a lot of something out of nothing. That's not true. It's another assault on Christmas. It's another assault on music. It's another assault on what we like at this time of the year. Now, the one thing I want to remind everybody is that the left absolutely is trying to take apart Christmas from the get-go. The real meaning of Christmas with the birth of the Christ child, all the way to the fun and frivolity of Christmas with Santa Claus and the elves and everything else. They want to see it destroyed. And I got to thinking over the weekend about other songs that are being played and nobody's saying or doing anything about it. So what I did was I turned on some various stations that play what I would say garbage. Garbage. And I listened to some music, especially by and I'm not going to call him an artist, I'm going to call him a punk and a thug. And the guy goes by the name of Snoop Dogg. You know who I mean. And I was listening to a couple of the songs that he had put out on the airwaves. They were not only filthy, they were extremely sex-driven, and they were extremely low-class against females. And nobody is saying a word to those respective stations, and I use that term loosely, or against the music that's being offered by a real low-class artist like Snoop Dogg. But at the same time, they will go after songs like Baby It's Cold Outside, or, even worse, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, because, they say it promotes bullying. And, oh, my goodness sakes, what, we can't have our children hearing this. Baloney. They are going to hear it. And they're going to hear it here. Because I'm going to play it on this program. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Merry Christmas wishes from Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, District 27, and also a representative from that area. And Scott, of course, a rancher up in Oakley, he and his family want to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke. Thank you very much. And Mountain Transmissions at 1140 46 East Main in Burley. Rick and the crew, boy, I'll tell you, they're your one-stop transmission repair facility with more than 30 years in the industry. Mountain Transmissions wishing you a Merry Christmas, as do the great folks at Pump Service, 103 West, 500 South in Burley, the Baker Brothers. I'm telling you, they are so darn good. How do I know that? They've provided us same-day service. They can do the same for you. They are really good. Merry Christmas from Pump Service. And then also, Minnecasia Sales. Hello, Zach, 1321 East Main in Burley. New flooring, doors, or more. Check out the great buys at Minnecasia Sales. And Zach and those folks wish you a very Merry Christmas. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't weaken on me, folks. Don't weaken on me. Give me a call. Let me know what your thoughts are. The attack on Christmas and a couple of years ago it was, the businesses were told to say Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. No. It's going to be Merry Christmas for as long as I'm on this program. All right, give us a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. This is JR.
Yes, sir.
I just want to let you know, if anybody else listens, I don't give a rat's tail whether they get offended or not. I just, a bunch of little girls, I can't say what I think, Zeb.
Well, we're not doing it to re-offend anybody. We're doing it to call attention to the fact of how ridiculous and how asinine and how juvenile their responses are to these music tunes, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, etc. And I'm just going to keep on playing them, and nobody is going to shut me up.
Man, I'm not. I'll tell you what, I'm 100% with today. A bunch of brothers and I would want for that kind of stuff. We're gonna. Well, I hope you just keep playing it. I hope you play it every time you find out somebody's offended by it.
I appreciate it. Sir, I want to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. We're having a little trouble getting you on the air with your phone, but thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. God bless. Thank you. Thank you. Don't forget our friends at Dino Septic Service. And, of course, they've expanded their business. Oh, my goodness. Yes, better expanded and better serve you. I'm telling you what, they really care. The best in septic tanks pumping. You don't want to go out and do that. Backhoe services, septic tanks and drain fields installed, liquid waste removal, sewer and sink drain lines clean. All of this and more with Dino Septic Service. Number to call, 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638. They really care, and they've got that big truck that says smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service, you give them a call today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb. I'm going to be very offended if you do not play Baby It's Cold Outside and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Silent Night and have yourself a merry little Christmas and...
You know what? You just made my day by saying that, because it makes me feel good and also lets me know that we've got support for the program and the thought. We're not doing anything wrong, but we are not going to kowtow to a certain segment of our population that wants to purify everything their way and vilify everybody else. I'm not going to go with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's why does the one get their way? You know, it's not like it's a disability. I understand people who are in a wheelchair who need a ramp, but the one person who's offended by "In God We Trust" or whatever, sorry, you don't like it? Go live somewhere else.
I couldn't agree more. You know, the whole thing is down to this situation in our country that the left wants to make, with their elitist attitude, everything their way. And let me ask you quickly, and I'm running late, but give me an answer on this. Have you ever sat down and really listened to the filthy lyrics of a Snoop Dogg song?
No, I don't even find that station on my radio.
Well, you know, what you need to do, and then call me back, is you need to do a little perusal on this and see what you can find out, because I think you will be totally shocked as to the verbiage and the treatment of women and immorality and everything else that's on those songs, and he's getting a free pass. And yet these idiots and nincompoops will go after Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Exactly. My sister was telling me some of the lyrics on, I don't know if it was Snoop Dogg, but one of them, and I was like, oh, run, girls, run.
Yeah, no kidding. Listen, to you and yours, a very Merry Christmas, and thank you for your call.
Merry Christmas to you and yours.
All right, God bless. Thank you very much. Nice lady right there. Oh, I got to get the weather forecast in here. Yes, sirree, Bobby. I'm running a couple of minutes late here, so we'll just quickly tell you the weather's brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and they are right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and, of course, the number to call to make an appointment, 312-0957. Dr. Hunsaker, Dr. Pickup, Dr. Mitchell, Three great audiologists serving you and your hearing needs. Don't put it off. Do not put it off. Call them today for an appointment. 312-0957. Right now, here's Gino with the weather.
Expect some snow showers for this week. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Today is not going to be too bad. We're looking at mostly sunny skies with a high of 35. Tonight, we do have a slight chance of snow showers in the forecast, about a 30% chance, and areas of patchy freezing fog, low of 28. For tomorrow, that fog could persist in the morning. That's going to burn off. Mostly sunny skies by tomorrow afternoon with a high of 33. By tomorrow night, 60% chance of snow showers are likely. The winds are going to be picking up as well with a low of 30. Blowing snow, about a 50% chance of snow showers, accumulations of about an inch for Wednesday with a high of 36. Then blowing snow and partly cloudy skies for Wednesday night and a low of 20. And that's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
She does a great job on the weather, and we appreciate it, Gina. Thank you. Brought to everybody by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Wonderful people that are serving you with your hearing needs. To provide comprehensive treatment for all your hearing loss, please give them a call, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Again, I want to mention and reiterate that we're going to be over at Denny's Restaurant at 611 North Overland in Burley on Thursday for the entirety of my program from 8 to 11. It's the old-fashioned Denny's Christmas. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come on by. Christmas carols and prizes, lots of prizes, and Santa Claus, Loot in the Boot to help the needy families, Ashley Ludlow music. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll look for you there at Denny's on 611 North Overland and Burley on Thursday. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. The Burley Senior Center is going to have lunch today for everybody for only $5, and chicken Alfredo, green salad, mixed vegetables, and ice cream for dessert.
Well, yummy ice cream.
Oh, yes, ice cream.
Okay.
We can call for a takeout lunch, too.
All right. Well, Joe Taylor at the Senior Junction, God bless you, on Overland Avenue in Burley, and thank you. It sounds great. You are the yummy man. Merry Christmas, Joe.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. What a nice man. Really appreciate him, and I'll appreciate some calls. Give me a jingle as I tell you about Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley with Juan. Hello, Juan, and Merry Christmas to you. And 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls with Eli and the Nampa location. I'm telling you, they are the premier Bobcat and Doosan equipment sales, service, and parts and rental dealership. Barry Equipment and Rental. They've got all the Bobcats, 0% interest up to 60 months. You better check it out. Equipment rentals and retail equipment sales. Barry Equipment and Rental in Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. All right, your turn. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear from you. There is, now I don't have a lot of time, but I want to get this in. And I want somebody that has the backbone and the spine to acknowledge what I'm talking about. Give me a call. Recently, just 2 days after being named the host of the Academy Awards, Kevin Hart had to step down because he had made some remarks about homosexual lifestyle. And just recently, after the Heisman Trophy Awards, Kyler Murray, the Heisman Trophy winner for this year, back when he was 14 years old, made some remarks about homosexuality. And they are being drilled through the keyhole for this. Kevin Hart had to step down. One of the remarks he said was that, and I'm quoting from his little excerpt in the paper right now, him being a heterosexual male, if I can prevent my son from being gay, I will. That's what he said. And the gays and the lesbians didn't like that, so they brought it up, and the Academy Awards said, Kevin Hart, you have to step down. Well, Kyler Murray, when he was a 14 and 15-year-old kid, made comments similar, and they were after him because he won the Heisman Award. Why do we, think about this question and give me an answer, please. Why do we as Christians have to morph into what the LGBT is demanding? Why do we have to morph and accept their lifestyle? What about our free speech? What about our free opinion? And what about the way we were raised in a Christian home and acknowledging what the Bible tells us and how to live? Today, we're being told that we have to morph and or change and or not say anything because the LGBT will come after you. Free speech and keeping values and standards are very important. And all of us should go back to our roots in the way we were raised and stand firm. And it's just way too bad that Kevin Hart, comedian at the Academy Awards, and now Kyler Murray from Oklahoma winning the Heisman Award, are on the hot seat with the LGBT because they didn't conform. They didn't go along. And they didn't accept. Your thoughts. Courageous people will call and let me know what their thoughts are. 436-2244. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, I'm with you and JR. You've known me for years, and I have never, ever been politically correct. This baloney of taking all this music off, what about our traditions? What about our family values? You know, we as the people, if we don't stand up and say, shut up and sit down, enough is enough, we deserve what we get.
Yeah. You have hit the nail right on the head there. That's the bottom line. We deserve what we get because we're not standing up and fighting back. And, Donna, I am absolutely appalled as to the amount of people that, oh, well, we don't want to make waves. Oh, well, we don't want to make a scene. Oh, well, we don't want somebody to say something bad of us. We have turned into a nation of whipped cowards.
Yes, we have. And if we don't stop, like I said, we get what we deserve. It's time that we, as Christians and people in general, I'm sure we're not the only ones.
That's right.
But I think we're probably a few of the only ones that have enough cojones to stand up and say what we believe.
Absolutely.
Merry Christmas, not Happy Holidays.
That's right.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was a hero. And Baby It's Cold Outside was a national treasure movie.
I got to run, but I really appreciate your call. As you can see by looking at the clock, I got to get a commercial in and then run to the news. But thank you, and God bless you, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you and your bride.
Thank you. Real quick, and then Wheels, be ready with Baby It's Cold Outside. I'm going to do this first. Don't forget, all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers say be ready for anything on the roadways, the highways, the freeways, snow and the ice and the slush and everything else. Oh, my goodness. They've got all the tires, all the tread designs to serve you for safe driving. Check it out today. All the tread designs, all sizes for your cars, like the Reputation Tire, superior performance, and quiet ride, along with the best in brake service and front end alignments and shocks and struts and batteries. Going to get colder. You better check it out today with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Absolutely. Wheels, old buddy, good to have you back. Would you please play so we can kind of create havoc with the liberals? Baby, it's cold outside. Oh, good morning. Merry Christmas, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. My goodness sakes, it's good to be on the air with you as we draw closer and closer to Christmas Day. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's hear this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Don't forget Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. They've got all the dumpsters in various sizes, and if you're trying to get ready to have all the family over for Christmas during the holidays, you got, oh my goodness, I got so much garbage here and I got so much junk here, I need a dumpster. Well, just give them a call. Western Waste Services, 734-6969. They are always at your disposal, Western Waste Services. By the way, too, Merry Christmas wishes go out from Searles at 120 North Center Street in Oakley. Oh, my goodness, gas, grub, and goodies. And they've got those specialty buns baked fresh every day. Oh, they're good, really good. At Searles up in Oakley, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Kelly's Bearings at 1407 East Main in Burley. They say, don't let your machine sit while you're waiting for a part to come in. Kelly's Bearing Supply, they've got all the bearings, chains, brackets, everything. You'll know where you're at when you get your bearings at Kelly's. Wishing you a Merry Christmas. And Dixon Oil Company. Hello, the crew. Daryl and the crew over there at Dixon Oil. Good people. All your gas, oil, and propane. They've been in business since 1951, serving you at Dixon Oil in Rupert. And all of them wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. We're going to have our guest on the line momentarily, but quickly I want to remind you about Holly Rowe and a great idea and business now. Minnecasia Hearts for Seniors at 135 East 23rd Drive in Burley. If you're a senior that's listening now right to this program and you want to stay at home and there's a few problems, hey, let me tell you something. Hearts for Seniors can help. Call Holly at 312-5715. That number again with the prefix 208, 312-5715. They can maybe help with daily tasks or maybe a little meal preparation or maybe running some errands or light housekeeping. Call them and find out more. Minnecasia Hearts for Seniors, 312-5715. I honestly look forward to Mondays because I get a chance to visit with a good friend. Never met him face-to-face, shook hands with him, but he's a good guy, and I want him to know that this station, this program, is going to play Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Baby It's Cold Outside. Richard Manning, President of Americans for Limited Government, good morning and Merry
I feel bullied. Good being on with you.
You know, I look forward. I never know what you're going to say or do, but I appreciate it and respect it. And, you know, I am not going to fall into this little ravine that the liberals and the Democrats want of, we say you don't play this, we say you don't say this, we're the elitists and you follow our lead. I'm not going to fall into that, Richard. I'm going to be my own person, and I'm going to exercise my right of free speech.
Oh, absolutely. It's it is. If you allow for somebody else to dictate your thoughts and your speech based upon mores that are not the consensus mores in the country, or not even close to being majority mores in the country, if you allow them to dictate to you what you can say, then in fact they've won. And it is ultimately there's a reason why the left, when they came in during the Obama administration, one of the major things they were trying to do to change people's attitudes was shaming. They actually wrote that into a document, the planning document for the Labor Department in 2009, when they were coming into power under Obama, was to engage in a shaming campaign against businesses who weren't doing what they wanted them to do. It wasn't that it was against the law; it just was, we're going to make it so they're publicly put in on a spotlight in a negative way to try to coerce behavior. That's what they do with political correctness overall. It is their strategy, and the ultimate way to deal with it is to say, you know, I don't care what you think, so you have no power over me.
That's the way I feel, and believe me, I've taken some hits in the years on this program because I'm not going to comport myself in their manner. And I think elitism goes much further than playing of certain songs at Christmas time. It's also following the Democratic Party into their reign over the House of Representatives. I don't think we're going to see a doggone thing done for the next 2 years except hate Trump, try to impeach Trump, or try to jail Trump. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that's going to be a majority of their agenda. It's and they're already signaling it quite strongly. There's no surprises here. They will try to pass some legislation in the House that comports with their socialist beliefs, and so they'll try to do some things that are dealing with labor and dealing with some other areas, and send them over to the Senate, hoping that the Senate will be weak enough that they will be able to run over the Republican majority in the Senate with some messaging bills that will be terrible. If I were them, and I shouldn't say this in case they're listening, but if I were them, I would take some of the things Ivanka Trump has said she wants to do that are really not good for the economy, and I'd jam them and see if you can't put the White House in a situation where the White House is actually supporting the Democrat priorities, and that would be wise. But the reality is, I expect them to do exactly what you said, and that is they're going to spend all their time investigating the president because he is a white whale and they are Ahab.
You know, did you, and I'm sure you did, probably saw some of the news outtakes and the news clips with Little Weasel, that's what I call him. I have a hard time respecting him, and that's Adam Schiff, saying, well, I think this president's going to serve jail time, and then, of course, Nadler going on and saying the same thing. Can't they realize that the American public needs to have their constituents represented by people they're going to work for the betterment of America, not just going after something as frivolous as collusion with Russia?
Yeah, but that's what they've done for 2 years. So this is all they have. They didn't actually run on anything that anybody wanted. They were in fact running as we're going to impeach Trump. That's how they got their base to be excited, and they're going to try to keep their base elevated. The way they learned a very important lesson, Zeb, and the Republicans never learned this lesson. In the first year, they're going to do things that satisfy their base. In the second year, they're going to attempt to do things which show that they can kind of reach across the aisle stuff that will be meaningless, but they're going to try to create an illusion that they're not nuts. And that will be their strategy, and so we will have the 2019 will be consumed primarily by impeachment, and if they're able to pass it, impeach in the House, then impeachment trial in the Senate. That is that's satisfying their base. The Republicans and President Trump decided that they weren't going to go and subject Hillary to these kinds of real scrutiny in 2017. They weren't going to create an environment where she was forced to deal with the multiple issues that she's got. They believed in the old school kind of just move on. And while the Democrats engaged in a scorched earth policy using the deep state of the Trump administration to do it against the president. So it's all the rules are on their head in terms of the way things traditionally work, but the people in power, when it was the Republicans, refused to use that power against their enemies, and the people who were out of power have managed to manipulate the power structures to use it against the people who are supposedly in power. So it's are you familiar with the song Lola by the Kinks?
Yeah.
Song from the 70s.
Yeah.
It's crazy, mixed up, upside down world. That's where we're at. We're in a crazy, mixed up, upside down world.
Richard, how do we get one great big group of people, and that's us, the population of the United States, to stand up, stick their chin out, and tell their representatives and their senators, enough of this. If you want to stay in office, you'd better start working for us and our issues or else. And I'm serious. It's about time that we, the American public, started showing some backbone. We can't put all the blame on the politicians because they do what we're allowing them to do. Would you agree with that?
100%, and it starts in Idaho. You have 2 senators from Idaho, but you have demographic shifts going on in Idaho. And there will be people from Washington, D.C. who are telling Idaho senators that, you've got all these Californians moving to Boise, and you better start figuring out how to talk to the Californians in Boise, because demographically they're going to begin to make up a significant part of the voting populace in Idaho. So, and that will mean you have to play it safe on Trump, and you can't be for Trump, you can't be against Trump, you have to kind of be in the middle. But that's not what we want. What we want is we want this nonsense put an end to it, and that means people in Idaho, people who are listening right now, need to be contacting your U.S. senators and saying, put an end to this. No more. Stand up and fight against this nonsense. And and similarly with the House member. So that's what has to happen right now. You have to set the predicate in their minds right now that standing up and fighting is the only recourse before the political consultants get a hold of them and attempt to soften their positions.
Couldn't agree more, and very well stated. I've got to ask you this as we change stories a little bit. You are very eloquent, and you're very sharp-witted. You understand what's going on, and you always give a direct answer. You would think that the FBI would hire someone of that same stature, but evidently not. Evidently, former FBI Director James Comey is not real bright. He's one of the NRB's not real bright individuals that can't remember, can't recall, or just doesn't know hundreds of times in a Senate hearing. This guy does not come across as a poster boy for good education in America.
Here's what he is. He's an expert at perjury entrapment. That is what he's an expert at. And he used perjury entrapment tools as a prosecutor, as a U.S. attorney, and as an FBI, as head of the FBI, to get people convicted of crimes. When they didn't commit the crime, they just kind of, they didn't remember something, or they misremembered something, to use a Bushism. And as a result, they would end up being convicted because they didn't remember word for word what they said 3 months before. Well, and that's what they did with Michael Flynn in terms of within the Trump administration. But being an expert at that, the single best way to not get in a perjury trap is to not remember. And so you're better off just saying, I don't remember. If you don't remember exactly what happened, say, I don't remember. And that way, if they come back and say, well, you said over here this, I'm sorry, I just didn't remember that. They can't prove that you didn't remember, that you were lying. but you're not put in a contradictory situation. So that's why all this not remembering stuff's going on, is because it's in his interest to not remember. Because if he actually remembered and answered and didn't answer exactly the way that he'd answered multiple times before, he would find himself being prosecuted for perjury.
But then what do we do as an American public with a jurisprudence system that should say and prove what is right, what is legal, what is wrong, etc.? How do we go about getting the truth when you have this kind of a memory bank that's lost, and anybody can take advantage of the situation by saying, I don't recall? How do we get to the truth?
You find out who you pinpoint somebody who's high enough in the food chain that actually knows what happened. You give them immunity, and you say, tell us your best recollection of what occurred. And by giving them immunity on the testimony, you get around the I don't remember approach, because I don't remember no longer it matters, because you can't commit perjury when you're given immunity. So you have to use immunity in a smart way to try to get to the bottom of, get the right person to talk and give you the truth. And that's how you get around it. You can't have people be in legal jeopardy when they're talking. I don't know that James Comey is the person I would have given immunity to, because I think James Comey is a guy who did remember and did in fact sign FISA warrants that were based on a salacious lie by Christopher Steele that was politically created, and as a result, he's actually legally culpable for a lot of other things, and I would not give him immunity from anything, because the guy needs to go to jail.
Absolutely. Again, shifting gears, and bear with me on this, I honestly have respect for a lot of the middle-class citizens in Paris for standing up and telling Macron and their government, wait a minute, you're bankrupting us. Wait a minute, we're farmers. Wait a minute, we're small business owners. We can't afford the transportation costs. We can't make a living at $7 and $10 a gallon. You've got to stop this idiocy. And they stood up and they're revolting against Macron. I say the same thing is going to happen here in this country, because people are getting fed up with the elitist government saying, thou shalt adhere to everything we say. I think it's going to happen here. What are your thoughts?
I don't know that it will happen here. I hope that we're able to right the ship sufficiently that people don't give up hope. I can understand why people would. But in terms of France, the fact is the yellow vest movement has over 70% approval. Amongst the French. It goes across the political boundaries of normal left or right wing. It's a sense that the government is out of control on all levels, and in some respects, this is not just the taxes, the gasoline tax, which was the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak, but it was a combination of all the things in terms of the unfettered immigration, the Islamization of the society, the sense that the essence of being French was being lost, the fact that they are essentially being asked to give up their own sovereignty to the EU, which has no respect whatsoever for anything that's French. And so you're seeing this time and again, and it's a combination of things, and the gasoline tax was just a punctuation mark on top of all of those things. And Macron, who ran as being not an independent, who wasn't Marie Le Pen, wasn't the nationalist, but wasn't one of the globalists either. He ran as being independent. It's turned out to be nothing more than a globalist shill, and as such, the guy can't show his face in the streets. Whereas in Italy, in Rome, there was just the guy, I think it's Salvini, just had a rally in Rome, which is he's a center right guy, and Rome is a liberal bastion. And he's running 60% approval ratings because he's standing up for Italy. And so you're seeing this sense of in Europe of people saying, wait a second, I stand up for my country. I stand up for what I believe in. It is a natural follow-on to what President Trump did here in America. You also see Theresa May losing in Great Britain. She didn't have the votes for a Brexit plan that doesn't actually do Brexit. And so now she's got a massive problem in her own parliament, and is likely that her government's likely to fall, in my estimation, and have a new vote. And that vote, parliamentary vote, will be a decision on whether or not to, proxy decision on whether or not to exit the EU again. So a lot of things are happening right now around the world that we need to pay attention to, and the riots in France are a big part of that. And quite honestly, the people support the riots in France because their government's out of control, and they're losing the essence of their country, and the system isn't working to protect them.
You use the terminology, and I've only got 2 minutes left, but you use the terminology globalist shill. And when you look at Merkel and you look at Theresa May and you look at all Macron, the whole list, and what the Democrats want here in the United States as globalism, etc., we are all becoming globalist shills. And it's about time somebody stood up in this country and said, enough is enough. I'm proud to be a citizen of this United States. I'm proud to be a nationalist, regardless of my skin color. Take it or leave it.
That's certainly what Donald Trump did, and he got attacked on it. But, I can't figure out how it's wrong to be proud to be an American. And ultimately, if your listeners don't hear anything else, it's absolutely 100% okay to be proud to be American and stand up and tell everybody that you're proud to be American. We are Americans. We're the beacon of hope for the world, and we need to continue to do so, and we can't do it if we're under trade enslavement to places like China.
Absolutely. Doggone it, time goes too fast. President of Americans for Limited Government, Richard Manning. I say this every week as we draw closer, but Merry Christmas, my dear friend. We'll talk to you next Monday. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas.
Take care. Thank you. I just really enjoy having him on the program. And that's Richard Manning, and just a straight shooter. And I respect that and appreciate it. Oh, my. Let's see. We've got to pay some bills. I want to remind you that at 11 o'clock this morning, don't forget Burley Livestock is going to present their third annual bred cow sale. This is a really good sale starting at 11 o'clock this morning. And it's over 1,200 head of really good quality cows and heifers, top genetics, one-iron cattle mostly. And I urge you to be there. If you have questions at the last minute right now, give them a call at 678-9411. That's the Burley Livestock presenting this morning at 11 o'clock, the third annual bred cow sale at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Don't you miss it. Absolutely. Another reminder these are such nice people, and I just really enjoy visiting with them, and they do so much for the community, and I'm talking about Hanson Mortuary, absolutely, at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-5636. Joel Heward, his family, and his staff, serving you and your family. And when there's the passing of a loved one, regardless of the time or the season, it's a really tough experience for the entire family, trying to remember what to do and the time frame to get it done. They can help. They will help. Always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Oh, Merry Christmas to everybody. And I've got my great big full page over here for our friends at Santa's favorite place to stop, and that's Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. Woo-hoo! No money down, no interest, up to 48 months on approved credit. Wow! You can check out all the great buys on the sofas, all the great buys on dining room sets and sofas and love seats and all the flooring and the carpet. What are you waiting for? You get everybody else a Christmas present. Why don't you get yourself one by beautifying and comfortizing your home at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley? It is Santa's favorite place to shop. You stop in and see those really, really nice people today. Yes?
I was just going to talk to you for a second. I've always had the main number for Mr. Perkins, of course, and I tried calling that main number. Of course, it goes to his voicemail, though. I left him one, but would you have an alternate number there?
Oh, wheels, 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 wheels. Let me see if I can find anything else that is going to work. And I do not. Repeat the number back to me that you have, if you would, please. We're going to have to do this on the air live, so go right ahead.
Okay. The number that I've always had is 973.
Yep.
687
yes.
4826.
Keep trying it. He might just absolutely be a little late getting there, and then Deanne is going to help us on this end, too. So see what you can find out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Good to have you back. So, we're waiting for Dan Perkins, and in just a moment, hopefully, we'll get him on the air. While we are waiting, we'll take some more calls at 436. Deanne, can you hand me those papers I just knocked off there? I appreciate that. I want to remind everybody about Let's Ride. Yes, they're located at 270, and that's Highway 24 in Rupert. Don't forget to give over there and check out all the snow machines. They've got everything right there on the showroom floor. Snowmobiles galore at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 in Rupert. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And don't forget, too, at Let's Ride, they've got all the snowplows. Yep, lots of them for your four-wheelers. I've got mine hooked up. And they want to serve you with the best in accessories and also a super service department at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Good people. Any action on that number, Wheels?
I'm not getting anything yet. It just keeps going to the voicemail.
All right. Well, keep trying, buddy. Keep trying if you would. And I think we have another call coming in. While we're waiting for your calls to give us a jingle and let us know about your corner of the world. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget about our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits. Excuse me, for you, your family, and your business. They really care, and they want you to be protected. So don't put it off. Call the number, make an appointment at 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, dedicated and responsive to your needs. Highway 24 in Rupert, and they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I'm telling you, it's incredible. The attack on Christianity, the attack on our culture. It's on all fronts, but it's all part, one of the big planks of the Communist Manifesto. And, of course, you can add Islam into that. These people are coming in. They're not, assimilating. They just want to get on welfare and destroy our culture. And we're supposed to take that. I know you don't. I don't. But so many people just say, well, I guess it's all kind of foreordained, and the Christians have been largely, in part, or neutralized on this subject. They think, well, they're waiting for the rapture. And in the meantime, the Bible says we occupy till he comes. It doesn't say we throw in the towel and let Satan do whatever he wants to us.
Well, let me jump in here a little bit, Adrian, and banter back and forth with you on this subject. I am absolutely appalled, and I mean this. I get on the radio 4 days out of 7, and I try to tell everybody the truth about what's happening with various stories around the world. And I absolutely urge people to get involved. I absolutely urge people to call their congressmen and their senators and not take their hat off and act like they're little wusses. I mean, stand tall and demand, I say this and I mean it, demand to their legislators, their politicians, that they get answers for questions. They work for us. We don't work for them. I am sick and tired of the milquetoast attitude that America's population has taken on. It's about time that we, the people, started acting like we the people.
Well, and our politicians, they take an oath of office, Zeb, to uphold the U.S. Constitution. And, of course, there's plenty of people in the new legislature is going to be attacked again or propose a Idaho call for a constitutional convention, which would be a total disaster. if that ever came to be. You can kiss the country goodbye if that happened, but you're right. They need to get the Constitution out. Just one section that I know I mentioned on your program before, Article 4, Section 4, it says our politicians are to protect us against invasion. Well, it didn't say, if you read the history behind that, it doesn't say a standing army. And we are being invaded by the Islamic radicals. They're coming in here. They're not assimilating. We're the illegals. In the number of Californians I've run into just, standing in the grocery line or whatever, it's amazing how many Californians are escaping California to come here.
Yep.
Well, and our politicians better take a stand here, or we're going to have the same problems here.
This is the thing that is really, it's a good subject right there. When I get Representative Fred Wood or Speaker of the House Bedke or Senator Kelly Anthony or any of them, every time they're on the program, I'm going to make them aware. And we do have some good, strong politicians representing our state. But I want them to be very cognizant and very aware that we have a certain culture in the state of Idaho that I don't want to see replaced, or I don't want to see it thrown away. And by all the different people coming in, all the different representations of this state, this culture, that culture, I don't want to see our culture demeaned and tossed away forever. And I want them to stand firm and try to represent the bulk of us in the state legislature.
Well, you're right. And just see, the last election, Ada County is practically totally blue, like Blaine County now. It's just really, there's hardly any vestige of red politicians, Republican politicians there in Ada County. And so the Californians seem to be coming here, and they're escaping the liberal views out there, but they're bringing their liberal views here. And of course, the millennials, the students, they all want socialism because it's free education, free medical, and they, like Margaret Thatcher said, socialism works until you run out of everybody else's money.
Amen.
And I think most of us are tired of paying taxes, and it's not just the state, the local taxes. Twin Falls County tax bill went up over 11% in this last year. And I got the printout from the clerk's office to find out what they've been spending, but it's unbelievable. The spending at the county level has gone up 36% in the last, I think, 5 years.
I agree. Adrian, I got to interrupt you. My guest just called over to the station, and he's waiting on board, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate your call.
Thanks a lot, and keep up the great work.
I will, sir, and thank you. Merry Christmas to you, my dear friend. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to Wheels and my wife, they've got the man ready to go, and he's one of my favorite guests to have on this program. He's a registered investment advisor with over 40 years of investment experience, especially working with energy, and we say good morning to energy oil analyst Dan Perkins. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. I apologize to your audience. I was on a television show, and they ran a little long, and so I missed the cue. I apologize.
No, that's all right, Dan. I understand certain things have to happen in certain sequences, and I appreciate your taking the time to be on the show. I've got to tell you something, Dan, and you're always a level-headed individual to have on this program, but I am coming out, I said it last week, and I said it again this morning, I'm coming out in defense of the yellow vests and the middle class in Paris for standing up to Macron and the idiocy of climate change, the idiocy of trying to buy into a green concept of where fuel would be $7, $10 a gallon or more. I support them. What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I've written about that stuff that'll be coming out this week in several different places. First of all, I think what's going on, and you're right to support them. What I believe is really going on here is that the people, the common people, the middle class, the labor unions, and the police and the fire, and all the 126,000 people that are protesting all over France and now spreading to Belgium and to Netherlands. The people have come face to face to the reality of what it's going to cost them for global warming. Up until this time, it had all been theory and practicality. But the elites who are supporting the global warming initiative, they're the ones that have finally now, in France and in Belgium and the Netherlands and other countries yet to explode, are going to tax their people to pay for the initiative, to pay for all of the greening of their countries. And you've got France with a 10% unemployment rate. Salaries have been stagnant for years. And the French people said, we didn't realize it was going to cost us how much. They were, not only did they raise gas and diesel rates, taxes, they were scheduled to do a 12.5 cent a gallon gasoline tax increase and a 25 to 28 cents a gallon tax increase on diesel fuel after the first of the year. And the people said, no, I don't want to do this. And what's happening is that, as one person put it, it was the wrong time to have snow, early snow and cold in the United States, because the sled of global warming is now stuck in the slush of American snow, and it ain't going anywhere.
You got it.
And when we began to figure out what it's going to cost, was going to cost us in the United States to comply with the Paris Accord, and how many billions and billions of dollars we were going to have to pay to the third world countries to give them the ability to control CO2 emissions in their countries, President Trump said, no, we're not going to do it. We're pulling out. So you're absolutely right. But what's happened now is that the movement in France and overspill into Belgium and into the Netherlands has moved away from just the global warming issue. They're now talking about the fact that the unemployment rate in France is 10%, that the elites got some wonderful tax breaks where the middle class got nothing, and the economy is not growing, and so there's an anger on many different issues pent up by the French people, which is coming out on the streets. And I have to tell you, I have been in Paris during the Christmas season. It is an amazing city. They do Christmas like I've never seen before anywhere. But to see the cars burned out on the Champs-Élysées, the defacement of the Arc de Triomphe, and shops being broken into and looted, it just tears my heart because it's such a beautiful city to see it being destroyed the way it is. But that's the price that has to be paid. And then you go on the other side of the English Channel, and you're talking about what's going on in London, where Theresa May wants to postpone the Parliament vote on Brexit. Nigel is leaving, has left his party. He's going to start a new party to try and connect with the people who are in favor of exiting the EU. So there's great turmoil. And then you go down to Vienna, where OPEC was meeting over the weekend, and OPEC is desperately trying to save what's happened to the price of oil. It's dropped to $51 a barrel. They're going to cut 1.2 million barrels a day, which is almost exactly the same amount that they increased production back in this summer. And we saw oil prices drop 35% in 2 months on the global markets. So now a lot of people are becoming interested in withdrawing from OPEC. So that cartel is in trouble. The EU is in trouble. And now, on top of all of that, in this piece that I just sent out, look at us. America, for the first time in 75 years, Franklin Delano Roosevelt was president in 1943, which was the last year that this country was energy independent. And it's now Donald J. Trump, 75 years later, by encouraging the development of our resources, has made us not only energy independent, we are the largest producer of oil in the world, and we are a net exporting nation. Our gasoline prices are less than half of Europe. So we're sitting pretty good. And by the way, we're not a member of OPEC. We didn't vote to cut production. We're going to continue to grow our industry and take market share from OPEC all over the world.
Dan, that being said, and I think you will concur with me when I make this following statement, I have kept charts on fuel prices versus the oil prices on the barrels of crude, etc., over the last couple of years. You just mentioned that oil prices, the crude oil, at about $51, $52 a barrel. We really, in this country, at this particular time of seeing crude oil at about $52 a barrel, should be looking at not more than $1.75 for regular gasoline and not more than $1.80 for diesel. It's twice that.
Well, I would, with all due respect, I think one of the things you have to understand is that you're based on the price of the barrel of crude. Your math is correct. What is not, a lot of people don't factor in, is the progressive tax, fuel tax, that the federal government put in place and the states put in place as a source of revenue. So taxes are becoming a bigger and bigger price in the cost of fuel. Down here in Florida, where I live, we're looking at $2.16 a gallon. Some places in northern Florida, $1.99. I saw that the lowest price of gas was in a small town outside of Columbus, Ohio, at $1.26 a gallon.
Wow. Dan, I think you'll also agree, though, that the greater picture is not being seen by the left. It's not even being looked at by the Democrats, because I don't think they're smart enough to realize that food production, the trucking industry, the overall transportation industry in this country and lifestyles are dependent upon energy. And when you start saying that they're going to cripple or curtail the use of fossil fuels and try to rely on something as absolutely ignorant and backward as just solar and wind, this country will end up totally bankrupt. They don't understand this.
Right. You know, that's a great point. In this report, I did a study of the percentage of gross domestic product in 4 countries: Sweden, Russia, Saudi Arabia, the United States. So if you understand that Russia is about 68% of their revenue comes from sale of energy, 70% from Saudi Arabia, as the prices of crude oil fell, the treasury of those 2 countries was dramatically, and the GDP was dramatic. A 30%, 35% decline is going to have a huge impact on the GDP of those 2 countries. Sweden is about 19%. We, on the other hand, energy is about 5.6% of the total GDP of the United States. However, unlike Saudi Arabia, which is 70% dependent upon the sale of crude oil for revenue, when the revenue goes down, they're in serious trouble. But when the price of crude oil goes down in the United States, it actually is a positive, because that means that the economy produces more net spendable income for the American consumer to spend or save, because lower gas prices, lower diesel prices means energy is more affordable and allows the American economy to grow and expand, not contract as it is in Russia or Sweden or Saudi Arabia.
Dan, I'm sure that in your line of work, you probably every day have to address the idiocy of global warming and or / climate change. The Tom Steyers and the Bloombergs and everybody else. But they're financing this control. It's nothing more than a control program. If you take away the freedoms of what low energy prices can do for a nation, you take away the freedom of people to travel and the freedom of people to grow more crops, farm more, have the John Deeres going down the field, etc. And you take all that away, you have complete control over the people. I'm not trying to sound like a clandestine radio host that says everything in the sky is falling, but it stands to reason when you take away energy prices that can be affordable, you've taken away the right of the people to make a living, and no wonder they riot.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is that when they're paying twice as much or more per gallon of gas than we are, and their economy is going in the tank, and unemployment is 4 times what it is in the United States, they see what's going on, and the common people are angry, and that's why they've taken to the streets. There's something fundamentally wrong, that they want to get fixed. And, when Macron met with some of the leaders of this movement, said he was going to suspend the 12.5 cents on gasoline and 25 cents on crude oil, or on diesel fuel after the first of the year, his finance minister says, well, then where are you going to get the money to pay for all the global warming initiatives? And he doesn't have an answer to that. And so it really is, you might have read that Al Gore was supposed to do a 24-hour telethon in support of global warming. It was canceled after 4 hours. He said, ostensibly because of the riots in Paris and sympathy for their desires, but in reality, nobody was listening, and a lot of the scientists in the global warming stable were very disappointed of his rhetoric and his speech. He said it sounded like a preacher, and so they basically walked away from it. But it's a situation where we have people who are desperately trying to make a living, and energy is an important expense of what we do in order to get to work and to pay for food and groceries and gasoline and everything else. And it really is important that we have an energy policy. I believe we do have an energy policy, and the Democrats are still the elite, still trying to tell the rest of the world they know what's best for America.
Absolutely.
How stupid the rest of us are.
Absolutely. Well stated. I'm going to take one quick call, and then I've got to wrap it up. Caller, real fast. Go, please.
Yes, I remember when Obama was president. I don't remember if it was 08, 9, whatever, between him signing in Obamacare and the price of gas was like $4 a gallon. I remember, being scared to death. There was a travel trailer company in our town of Burley and one in Twin Falls. Both of them closed their doors and went bankrupt, or they shut these plants down.
Quickly, caller.
People lost their jobs. You go to the freeway, nobody was on the freeway. The trucks were sparse. The people were less. Nobody was traveling. And this is what happened when we had somebody forcing things down the people's throats. And this weekend, I went to Boise and I came home, and even in the middle, even 10 o'clock at night, the freeways are packed. Trucks are trying to pass. This is called the Trump economy. It works, and I wish people would have realized what he has done for us. And like I said, the price of gas keeps going down. I couldn't be more pleased, but people don't appreciate what they've got until it's gone. I'll hang up.
Dan, respond to the caller real fast, if you would, please.
He's absolutely correct. People don't understand what they have until they lose it, and I think that energy prices are going to rise a little bit, not a huge amount, and we're going to see continued following gas prices because a lot of the gas are done in forward contracts, and when those contracts run off early after the first of the year and into the spring, you're liable to see if we stay in the $50 to $55 range on crude oil, a national average below $2 a gallon in the United States.
Dan Perkins, I want to extend to you, your family, a very, very Merry Christmas. I hope I can get you back on again soon. I really enjoy visiting with you. The very best to you, my dear friend. Thank you for being on the program.
Zeb, it's always a pleasure, and thank you for all the times that you've had me on your program this year. I enjoy talking to you. You always give me great questions, and I wish to you and your family a blessed Christmas.
God bless you, my friend. Thank you very much. Dan Perkins, and energy oil analyst, and I appreciate him being on the program this morning. Holy cow, we've got to get a weather forecast on here really fast, and the weather is brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. They've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years with the very best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, bookkeeping services, retirement planning. The list goes on because they are the best in serving you. Offices in Burley and Rupert, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Expect some snow showers for this week. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Today is not going to be too bad. We're looking at mostly sunny skies with a high of 35. Tonight, we do have a slight chance of snow showers in the forecast, about a 30% chance, and areas of patchy freezing fog, low of 28. For tomorrow, that fog could persist in the morning. That's going to burn off. Mostly sunny skies by tomorrow afternoon with a high of 33. By tomorrow night, 60% chance of snow showers are likely. The winds are going to be picking up as well with a low of 30. Blowing snow, about a 50% chance of snow showers, accumulations of about an inch for Wednesday with a high of 36. Then blowing snow and partly cloudy skies for Wednesday night and a low of 20. And that's your weather forecast for Zev at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by some dear friends that want to remind you, better have your tax records ready for the end of the year, and if you have questions, be sure and get a hold of the best to serve you, Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert, bringing you the weather. You know what? We've also got a little time here to extend Christmas wishes from our dear friends. Representative Fred Wood, District 27, wants to wish all of his constituents a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Here's a man that has really dedicated himself to serving you. Merry Christmas wishes from Representative Fred Wood in Burley. And the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce at 1177 7th Street in Hayburn. Oh, what wonderful people, headed up by Sarah Seymour and the whole crew. The Chamber of Commerce, Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce, wishes you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Along with our friends over at Mountain Transmissions, 1146 East Main in Burley. You know, they offer free towing, free diagnostic, and free estimates. The place to go if you're having problems, Mountain Transmissions on East Main in Burley. And last but not least, our dear friend, and he is Senator Kelly Anthon, Senator of District 27, says thank you to everybody that's voted for him, and he loves working for you. Senator Kelly Anthon and his family extend to you and your family Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And there you have some more of the Christmas wishes on Zeb at the Ranch. What have we got coming up next hour? We're going to have at 10:06 Rachel Alexander with the stream coming on, and then at 10:30 we're going to have a redo with a hopefully better phone line with John Zamirik talking about the border wall, etc. So we've got all of that coming up in this next hour. Merry Christmas to you and your family. We'll be back in 7. Old Wheels, take it away. Oh, good morning. Kind of a cloudy, hazy, cold winter morning. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. And that's from our major sponsor, your Magic Valley. Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Absolutely. And, of course, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. We're going to go to our guest in just a few moments. Stand by, but don't forget to Butte Irrigation at 116 South, 600 west of Paul, and also another location at Red Cap Corner on Kimberly Road. They are your Zomatic dealer, and they will get you wet with all your irrigation needs. Butte Irrigation wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas, along with our friends, and they always are supportive of us, and that's, of course, Golden Valley Warehouse at 468 West, 1000 South of Burley. They'd like to thank all their customers for the business this past year, selling quality seed to quality people. Golden Valley Warehouse wishing you a Merry Christmas. And Snake River Auto Body and Paint at 404 4th Avenue West in Twin. Dan and Ken, the whole crew, man, I tell you, these are good people. If you've got a little ding in your four-wheeled Wonder, take it in there, and they can fix you up like brand new. Snake River Auto Body and Paint, 404 4th Avenue West in Twin. Merry Christmas. Let's see. We are going to have our guest on momentarily. Don't forget, this coming Saturday, December 15th, do not forget the great big Four Paws Bed and Bath Christmas party. Take your pets, your Dobermans, your St. Bernards, your Chihuahuas, all of this into Four Paws Bed and Bath at 370 West, 200 South of Rupert for a great big Christmas party. Take a picture with your pet on Santa's lap, especially the St. Bernards. And don't forget there's going to be free food for everybody and spin the wheel to win prizes. A lot of fun. At Four Paws Christmas party, 370 West, 200 South south of Rupert. Number to call, 438-4444. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and we have a lady with us that's been on the program many, many, many times in the past, and she writes for the stream. Good morning, Rachel Alexander. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
By the way, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas right back at you.
Now, you're down in Arizona now, aren't you?
Yeah, it's great weather here, too. It's like 70 today.
Oh, my goodness. I'm planning, along with my wife, of being down there during the last week of January. So, by golly, we'll hopefully see you then. And enjoy the sunshine, but save some for us.
Oh, yeah. Late January is a wonderful time to come.
You know, Rachel, you write a lot of interesting stories, but this one about the Clinton Foundation and the whistleblower, woo! I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions, and in my opinion, and you can tell me I'm wrong, there's a lot of under-the-table, don't want the public to know about Uranium One, a lot of the emails about the Clintons and also the Clinton Foundation. What's going on here that a whistleblower all of a sudden is being stymied by the FBI?
Yeah, this is really disturbing because if you're a whistleblower, you're supposed to have protection. You're not supposed to have the feds turn on you after you've given them all this information. And so what happened is this guy, Dennis Nathan McCain, a former FBI contractor, he told the Department of Justice and Congress about things going on with Hillary Clinton and Uranium One. He could see that it was a quid pro quo, that this Russian company was paying the Clinton Foundation in exchange for Clinton setting up the sale of Uranium One, a bunch of our uranium, to Russia. And so all of a sudden, this guy, answers the door, and there's all these FBI agents on his doorstep demanding documents, and he turned them over, and he also told me he was a whistleblower, but they didn't seem to care. They went and spent 6 hours ransacking his home.
Well, now, when you say all this, there's a multiplicity of questions that come into my head. First of all, why was he treated in the fashion that he was? Like, we're going to come in, we're going to just absolutely tear your place apart. You're a whistleblower, but you must be hiding some other information? This doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all. And thankfully, people like, Senator Chuck Grassley and a whole host of other organizations are demanding answers and demanding they get to the bottom of it. It doesn't make why you would do this to a whistleblower is supposed to be protected. The only thing I can think of is, he took on the Clintons. And when you take on the Clintons, they are so powerful. They still have deep state agents left at the FBI. They are pulling the strings still there.
Rachel, I'm not trying to put you on the hot spot, but I'm going to ask questions that I think need to be answered. Number one, let's start with the Clinton Foundation. I don't trust anything that Hillary and Bill have been a part of. I don't at all want this swept under the rug. I want to know where the money's going. I want to know who they've helped fund. I want to know what the reciprocity was back to them. Talk first of all about the Clinton Foundation, and then we'll get into Uranium One.
Well, and that reminds me of some new information I just heard about the Clinton Foundation, which is that Bill Clinton has been playing fast and loose with the money in the Clinton Foundation. He's been intermingling it with his own personal funds, and he's been warned over and over again to stop doing it, and he won't stop doing it. And as we all know, the Clintons have used this Clinton Foundation as a funnel for their own, personal ventures. They had donations to the Clinton Foundation went to pay for Chelsea Clinton's wedding.
How do they do this? Explain to me, please, if there are donations to a foundation. Do just Hillary and Bill basically say, oh, goody, mama, let's write a check and head for Mexico? I mean, how do they get the money out of there? Aren't there more people overseeing the funding?
Well, as I've been told, they put straw men in charge of the Clinton Foundation, like the Eric Braverman, who they think will do what they want and look the other way. And then when Eric Braverman started squawking, Chelsea Clinton made sure they got rid of him. And so the Clintons were then put in another straw man who would just do whatever they wanted to do.
Get rid of him. You know, that's kind of a scary phrase that you just used, and one that I'd like you to elaborate on a little bit. I am very concerned of the power that some of these people have, and the Clintons are two of these people. I don't think it would be above them to have people, let's say, removed at the drop of a hat if they don't go along with their program. And it sounds to me like the daughter's also involved.
Yeah, you know, she's looking out for her parents. They have a very tight, cozy relationship, and she's very tied in deep to the Clinton Foundation. And, you know, we all know what happened with Eric Braverman. He got removed because they didn't want him there, and there was concerns that he had been knocked off because they hadn't heard from him in months and months. And, you know, it looks like he's popped up again since then because there have been reports that, you know, he now is working for some company out in California. But no one still has ever seen him since then that I know of. And if you look at his tweets, all he does is he just retweets other people.
Let me, please give me a little background. Refresh my memory, if you would, please, Rachel, on Uranium-1. This sounds like perhaps the most insidious of any investigatory type means. Tell me about Uranium-1.
Well, basically, the Russians want to control uranium, you know, which is used to build nuclear weapons, because then they'll have leverage over the United States. And the United States has gradually been transferring its uranium ore, purchasing it outside of the country instead of, you know, our own reserves here. Well, there was this company called Uranium-1, which the United States had a large ownership in, and the Russians wanted to buy this company. And in order to buy it, they heavily lobbied Hillary Clinton as the Secretary of State to okay the deal, and in exchange, they donated millions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation in order to pressure into okaying the deal. So she and the Obama administration did okay the deal, and that then transferred, let's see, I'm trying to remember the exact percentage, but it was a huge percentage of our uranium that we would purchase would now be bought from the Russians instead of from ourselves.
Well, wait a minute, help me. I'm just an old cowboy, and you got to help me figure this out. If we have uranium deposits like up in Oregon, etc., and we also have to import over 90% of our uranium, why in the world would we be dumb enough, underline the word dumb, to sell what we have?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. It's not a dumb question at all. I think if that was a corrupt deal that went on, and the Clintons orchestrated it because they benefited from it. I think under a Trump administration, we would have never sold the company.
What, as an author and as a writer and studying these various stories, what are your thoughts about the Clintons themselves and the background of their foundation, the people that worked for them? How concerned are you? Kind of lay it out on the table for me as to the power that they have.
Oh, I am extraordinarily concerned. We've seen this power that they have been using for years, going back to, you know, when Clinton was in Arkansas and all the scandals we heard back then when he was governor. I think this is about the most powerful couple almost in the world, probably in the United States, and everybody's scared to cross them because we all know what happens if you cross the Clintons. You know, there could be some truth to the Clinton body count, and we definitely know they retaliate against their enemies. So this couple ruthlessly goes around, does what they want. The deep state controls the law enforcement agencies, so nobody will investigate them. They get a free pass. I think, you know, we haven't seen the end or the depth of the sleaziness and the absolute, you know, felonious behavior of this pair.
You know, this is really interesting to me, and again, you know so much more about this than I do. But recently we have seen Bill and Hillary try to act like a married couple and act like they really care about each other and go on these tours, of which they were wanting originally about $700 to $750 a seat, thought it was going to be a gold mine, but the shaft caved in, and they've been selling tickets just to get bodies into one of these meetings for like $6 and $7 a person. That doesn't show that they have a lot of power left. What's your take on this?
Well, I don't think their power is in their popularity. I think their power is in how they manipulate and threaten people behind the scenes. You know, living here in Arizona, you know, I was threatened 3 times by McCain. Personally, that's how he kept his power. It wasn't because he really was popular. He'd threaten you if you were a powerful Republican and you didn't support him and get out and get other people to support him in the election. And that's exactly what the Clintons are doing. They are threatening people into maintaining their power.
You know, whether it's the foundation or the Uranium One, how are we, the American public, and this is something that I'd really like to hear your answer on, but how are we going to find the truth? I can't stand knowing a story exists and not being able to find out the truth. How are we going to find out the truth?
Well, there's always the sunshine, you know, public records request, and thank goodness for Judicial Watch. That seems to be, you know, one of the groups that it never stops requesting public records related to Uranium One and these similar sleazy deals by the Clintons. But, you know, who knows? I mean, we've seen a history of, you know, the State Department, you know, would it turn over all of Hillary's emails at first? No, you know, when all this corruption was going on. So you know, it's probably the best way to get to the bottom of it, but I don't know if it's actually going to work.
I see. We have a caller with a question for you, Rachel. Caller, go ahead, please, quickly.
Yes, you say you're from Arizona, and I know this is an off the subject, but, you know, this election with Kristen Sinema and how they stole that election, you see, it all boils back down to the same thing. Control, illegal activities. Nobody ever prosecuted for these things. You and I, if we speed down the road and we storm the police car, I'm going to be in handcuffs and I'm going to be in jail in just a short time. These people never have to answer for anything. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, if you would, please, Rachel.
He broke up a little bit on the second half of the call, but I think I understood what he was saying. It sounds like he thinks Kirsten Sinema, this Democrat who snuck into office here in Arizona, is a junior Hillary Clinton, and I do believe there was a lot of voter fraud going on, and thank goodness you've got the Arizona Republican Party here, you know, calling for an investigation of the voter fraud.
Let me go back a little bit and talk to you about the FBI. I mean, I am sitting here and I get kind of a chill, like having a window open on a cold winter day. I'm getting a little chill to think that the Clintons or any private citizen could have that much power and that much of a resource that they could command and demand that the FBI answer to their whims. That had to be a little disconcerting to you, too.
Oh, it is disturbing, and as you know, as somebody who's been targeted by, you know, one of these large government, two large agencies myself, you are just, you're done. If they want to get you, they can get you. And see, the Clintons, you know, being in power, they've been able to stack the FBI with their loyalists for many years now, and, you know, a lot of Democrats are attracted to these bureaucratic types of jobs, and so that place is so infested, I'd be terrified to have the FBI come after me as a conservative today.
You know, I'm jumping off the train tracks here a little bit, but I want you to respond to this. After we saw a guy that I just absolutely detest every time I see him on television, and that's former FBI Director James Comey, goes into the Senate hearing, and all of a sudden his brain went on vacation, and he couldn't remember, he couldn't recall, or he said, I didn't know, for about 175 times. What are your thoughts about this as far as answering the Senate questions?
Well, he was coached by the deep state, you know, other people in the Department of Justice, attorneys, but, you know, which we know is stacked with liberal attorneys. They told him, don't say you know the answer to almost everything. And so he's deliberately lying when he says he doesn't know. He's committing perjury, but how do you prove it? How do you get inside his head? I mean, it's just going to be that much of a battle to prove that he's lying when he says he doesn't know.
Yeah, well, I want to end the segment this morning by asking you, when you did the research for this story on the Clinton Foundation whistleblower raided by FBI, what about whistleblowers? What about their lives? What about their families? What about their security, their future, their jobs? I mean, they're just basically laying it all on the line to try to get the truth out to the American public, and it could be all over for them, right?
Yeah, like this isn't a great deal for them to be a whistleblower. They're doing it usually because they are true believers, and their whole life is going to be turned upside down as they know it, and that's why we have these laws giving them protections. So if you don't even have the minimum protections from the law coming after you, it's going to be a terrible disincentive for people to be whistleblowers anymore.
Well, I'm sitting here, and like I said, it's an excellently written piece called The Clinton Foundation Whistleblower, and you did a great job as always. Now, but one thing I wanted to ask you about, and it sounds so minimal, that Senator Chuck Grassley has written to the FBI and asking questions. Why don't they slam their shoes down on the desk and demand, hey, it's 9 o'clock in the morning and I want this report or answers to my questions by 10? There doesn't seem to be anybody willing to jump up and say, I want it not tomorrow, but now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's because they work in the federal government and they realize it's all just a huge bureaucracy. But, you know, I worked in government, and, you know, I saw when we had public records requests come in from the media with their little deadlines, you know what we would do? We would turn around and give them whatever they wanted within hours. We had a 24-hour, I think, max rule. So we treated the media differently. It can be done.
But therein, answer this part of it, though, therein lies another problem when you talk to the likes of CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, etc. They seem like they're so far on the left that they're almost acting arm in arm with the perpetrators to hold back the information.
Oh, that's a very good observation. They are aiding them. They are helping them. They are, you know, how do we ever get anywhere as conservatives when you've got the media just on the side of the left and just helping them along?
Absolutely. Rachel, keep up the good work, and I mean this. Enjoy your writings, and I know that you're straight up on all the information. Thank you so much for being on the program, Rachel Alexander.
I appreciate it. God bless.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Wow. I mean, here's a whistleblower that was blowing the whistle, if you will, about the Clinton Foundation and documents and Uranium One, and he's openly trying to assist the FBI, and he gets a knock on his door, and they say, up against the wall, please, sir, hands against the wall, and 16 agents went into his residence and literally tore it apart for 6 hours, when he was trying to provide the information openly to them in the first place. This scares me. It gives me great fear about more of a police state starting up and becoming operative in this great United States of America. Knock, knock, who's there? Well, it's the FBI. Let us in. We're going to tear your house apart. We believe that you've said this, done this, written this, etc. We're going to find it and destroy your life. Wow. Never an end. Want to remind you that this Thursday, of course, we're going to be over at Denny's America's Diner in Burley at 611 North Overland for the old-fashioned Denny's Christmas. I really want you to come by. I really want you to try to win some of the prizes. I really want you to take part in our Christmas fun. We're going to have Christmas carols, and Ashley Ludlow's going to provide the music. We're going to have a wonderful, wonderful time with Santa Claus. He's flying in from the North Pole. We're going to have Loot in the Boot to help aid some of the needy families in this area. It's going to be on Thursday. I'm going to have my whole program over there from 8 to 11, and we want you to be there too. At Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, for the old-fashioned Denny's Christmas, and we'll plan on seeing you there. Thank you very much. By the way, on Thursdays, we have a special segment called Cassia County School Days, and it's brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. Don't forget, they've got all the wonderful games and toys and puzzles and books and clothing and baby furniture. Oh, they gift wrap for free. They've also got the Cherokee scrubs and the shoes. It's all there at a family store. A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And on Thursdays at 10:10, they bring you Cassia County School Days. Don't you miss it. Okay. Let's see what else have we got. I think we're about caught up for right now, and when I say right now, we're going to get ready to send this back over to our studios, and we're going to have a report in just a moment with John Zamirak, but stand by. Also, real quick, don't forget Nature Nursery at 120 East Highway 81 in Burley, wishing you a very, very Merry Christmas. Home decor items, fresh-cut trees, all of this outdoor lighting, they've got it all at Nature Nursery in Burley. Wonderful people, wishing you a Merry Christmas. Along with Rogge Auctions, Ron, Cade, Jed, the whole crew, the best auctioneers around. If you're selling a farm or farm equipment, call Rogge Auctions at 431-0074, wishing you Merry Christmas. And Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair at 635 21st Street in Hayburn. What a nice guy. What a great guy. And he wants you to remember the real meaning of the season and remember the senior centers. Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair in Hayburn. Wishing you a Merry Christmas. Right now, let's send it back over to Wheels. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
A couple of days ago on this program, I had a friend of this program that's been on here many, many times talking about the border situation with the immigrant. I'm not going to call it that. I'm going to call it illegal alien caravan. And the phone connection was not too good, so we said, hey, John, please come back. I'd like to welcome back again on the program to discuss the caravan, the border situation, John Zamirak. John, good morning to you.
Hold up, sir, real quick.
Is he there? John, are you there?
Yeah, he should be there, sir.
All right, good morning again. We had a little hesitation there. John Zamirak, how are you, sir?
Good morning. I'm fine, thanks. Well, actually, I'm just getting over the flu, but...
Well, I'm glad to hear you're feeling better. I don't know if you heard my prelude going into your introduction, but I'll say it again quickly, that we had you on the air a couple of days ago. The phone line wasn't the best, and so I wanted to have you back because you had written an excellent article in the stream called Questions for Christians on the Immigrant Caravan. I find this to be very disturbing today that those of us, myself included right at the top of the heap, are against the invasion into our country by people that are waving their old country's flag, pointing us in the chest and saying we're coming in and you can't stop us. And when I say no, I'm not a Christian, this is ridiculous.
It is outrageous. It turns Christianity into some ludicrous, masochistic suicide cult. I mean, if Christianity means you have to let people invade your house and beat up your family and rob you, then it wouldn't be much of a religion, and nobody would ever have adopted it. Likewise, if you say that about a country. If Christianity had said to the Romans, oh, you have to let every barbarian tribe just waltz in and take your stuff, and oh, by the way, you have to feed them and clothe them, and let them vote in your elections, it wouldn't have spread. Nobody would have adopted it, and nor should they have, because that would have violated justice.
John, when you were doing the research for this piece and you were looking at these invaders, basically that's what they are, thumbing their nose at our rules and regulatory systems and saying they're coming in, and once they're here, we're going to, like you said, feed and clothe them and give them housing and possibly welfare program that will never end. Why in the world isn't this being perpetrated as such to the media? Why aren't they doing what they should be doing in creating a lawful and unobstructed view of what's really happening, but we're being lied to by the CBS's, ABCs, etc.?
Heck, we're being lied to by our churches. The Catholic bishops in my church are in fact involved in this. The Catholic Legal Immigration Network, which is actually funded by George Soros, was one of the groups that was recruiting people to march on this caravan. And the U.S. Catholic bishops are constantly yelling for people to admit them, and that it's like, if you want to keep out any wave of illegal immigrants, it's the same as aborting children. And I'm not joking. Cardinal Kupich of Chicago literally said that in the Chicago Tribune. Well, of course, the Catholic bishops get 40% of their money, 40% of their money, from the U.S. federal government via contracts, federal contracts, almost all of them for, ding, 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 immigrants. So, and what's more, there are other Lutheran social services, other evangelical groups get their bread buttered by the federal government via serving immigrants. It's how they keep the lights on.
John, right now, we've heard that a lot of these illegal aliens in the caravan are turning around and they know they're not going to get into the country. They know they're not going to scale the wall, and they're turning around and giving up. However, there are still some of the original, let's say, 6,000 that are still there. What about future caravans? What about the status of more people coming up and demanding entrance? What do you know about this?
I know that I'm not really angry at the people in the caravan the way I am at the Republican Congress, which had 2 years and a friendly president, to sign and put into law something that filled all the ridiculous loopholes in our asylum law that makes it possible for people to abuse our system this way. If the Republicans had done their job and the president had followed through on his campaign promises, the laws would have been fixed such that it wouldn't matter if these people set foot on U.S. soil. We could pick them up and turn them around again. But the way the law is now, the moment they set foot in America, it's like a Roach Motel. They're stuck here until we have to mitigate. We have to spend tens of thousands of dollars of government money fighting a George Soros or church-funded attorney to prove what is absolutely obvious, that they're not refugees because they turned down asylum in Mexico. That right there is dispositive. But any one of them who hits U.S. soil now or in the next caravan or the next one, we have to spend $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 proving that they're not a unicorn, that they're not a dinosaur, they're not a refugee. That's on us. We should have forced Congress to act.
Is it too late, in your opinion, to really have Trump demand, with the possibility of a government shutdown, which I think would be good anyway, but to get funding for the wall? Where are we at for funding on the wall, or is the wall itself just a pipe dream anymore?
I'm afraid it's likely a pipe dream. I mean, if he couldn't demand it of his own Republicans, why do we think we're going to get it now from the Democrats? I think we're going to have to wait 2 years. I mean, it's like Lucy in the football. Oh, don't worry, we Republicans didn't do it last time, but if we re-elect us this time, we'll do it for sure. We'll let you kick the football. I am frankly flabbergasted that even with a victorious President Trump and a Republican Congress, we couldn't get even moderate immigration fixes. It's kind of like with England. They voted for Brexit overwhelmingly, and the establishment grounded into the ground. The system is set up so that one side wins. And if by a fluke that the people win, don't worry, we're going to keep do-overs and do-overs until the elites get what they want.
You know, John,
It's frankly discouraging. And I agree with Tucker Carlson, who's been quite critical of Trump. And some people say he's thinking of challenging Trump as the more conservative candidate in 2 years to the Republican nomination. I think that would be a very healthy thing.
We are looking at, and these numbers are astronomical to me, and another good friend of mine, Frosty Woldridge out of Golden, Colorado, has been anti-immigration, and he has said this for many, many years, that the cost factor is going to kill us as taxpayers. We are spending over right now $162 billion with a B dollars per annum on illegals being in our country with the welfare system. We can't afford to have an open border system. I, as a taxpayer, I don't want to spend my tax money anymore for something that's going to illegality.
Well, it would be so much cheaper to build a wall. But, it wouldn't bring in new Democratic voters. It wouldn't fill the pews in certain churches that are otherwise in decline. It wouldn't provide cheap labor. It wouldn't help make people like Paul Ryan comfortable when they leave Congress because they get lobbying jobs with massive lobbying firms funded by the cheap labor lobby. You see, it's only ordinary American people who get ripped off by this. It's not the weaponized elites. And unfortunately, it's the weaponized elites that know how to get their way in Congress.
John, No, I was just going to ask you real quick, why is it that we get all this lip service? We get all this, well, we're going to be tough, and we're going to crack down, and we're going to build the wall, or we're going to send the army down there, and we're going to have our military there to make sure they don't get in. I'm sick and tired of the lip service. I'm sick and tired of illegals coming into this country at my expense, and all we get is lip service. Is there anybody in the Senate and the House, anybody, that has the backbone to stand up and bang their shoe on the table and say enough is enough?
Well, we thought we elected that guy president, but he's proved squishy on this issue, which is the only issue he got elected on. People didn't elect him because they like his hotel. They elected him to close the border, to stop the invasion. That's why we elected Trump. It's as if Barack Obama had been elected and kept prosecuting the war in Iraq. I mean, he was elected to get us out of Iraq. Whether or not that was a good idea at the time, that was his signature issue, and he won. If Barack Obama had been governing like a moderate Republican, his people would have rebelled. Unfortunately, Donald Trump has been indistinguishable from a President Jeb Bush so far. I would like to see what he did differently from what Jeb would have done.
Yeah. You and Al Parada have written a book called The Politically Incorrect Guide to Immigration. What's the basis of your book, and what's the main thing you want people to take away from it?
Thanks for mentioning it. That when people say we're a nation of immigrants, they're being ahistorical and dishonest. The immigration that built America was A, legal, and B, economically beneficial. When my grandfather came to America as a semi-literate speaker of the Croatian language, he came to a country with no welfare state, no bilingual programs, no Croatian lobby that was going to help sell the Croatian vote in return for government programs that singled them out, no affirmative action for Croatians. And in fact, he had to work at tough manual labor his whole life. If the U.S. economy had not needed him, he would have gone home. 1 out of 3 immigrants from Italy turned around and went back home because they didn't find a good enough job, they didn't like the conditions, they went back. That's how it's supposed to work. That's how immigration can build a country. If people have to sink or swim when they get here, and if they're sinking, they go home. The way we have it set up now, it's a glue trap for welfare benefits and a vote farm for the Democrats.
John, I have said many, many times over the last week that what we're seeing in France with the Yellow Vest Brigade, if you will, absolutely can and might and maybe should happen here in this United States. What are your thoughts?
We're not as far along as France in being governed by an utterly out-of-touch elite oligarchy, but if things continue with closing people down on social media just because of their mainstream political views and pretending that conservatism is hate speech, if they keep trying to use backdoor ways to cancel the Second Amendment, if our elites continue to abuse their power, nothing's off the table. Our country was born in a revolt against the elites. But I certainly hope and pray that we never get to a spot like France has.
That all being said, John, I know you do a lot of writing and everything, but is there any salvation? Is there any rectifying of this problem? When you look at the illegal aliens and the caravanners coming up from Central America, and you look at the almost 1,400 per night that jump our borders and come in here, my gosh, the American taxpayer can't absorb any more of this financially. What's the future look like?
Well, if Trump wants to get reelected, he better do something about this. Maybe he wants to be a one-term president like Jimmy Carter. If so, he should go right on doing what he's doing on this issue. Empty symbolism followed by craven surrender.
Wow. It's very scary times. Do you come up with and assert any answers in your book with Al Parada on immigration?
An 18-point plan, which we call Mission America, that would solve this problem. And the number one on it is actually not the wall, it's E-Verify, which forces employers to check whether someone has legal status when they go to work, when they apply to work. I know you would think that was necessary already, but it isn't. That's the one most obvious thing. That would turn off the jobs magnet. We wouldn't even need a wall if we had E-Verify. It would be nice to keep out MS-13 and drug smugglers, but if we had E-Verify, a wall would be superfluous, and without E-Verify, a wall is useless because they can get in other ways. They come in on tourist visas, they overstay, they have anchor children, they have anchor babies. Then everybody can stay and everybody can go on welfare. We have to get rid of. We have to impose E-Verify, build a wall, track people when they overstay their visas, get rid of chain migration, get rid of birthright citizenship. They're simple, straightforward, mainstream solutions that would actually fix the problem, which is why the people dependent on cheap labor or cheap votes dig their heels in and obstruct and deflect and fool us every single time.
John, would it be too simplistic, and I'm almost out of time here, but would it be too simplistic to ask why the H-2A and H-2B programs on immigration were not funded and turned out to pasture when, in essence, I think they would work again, but they don't even seem to be talking about them?
I know that I thought they had doubled the H-2B program. I thought that was being expanded. And I don't think it should be, frankly. I think we need to raise the wages for agricultural workers in America. And if prices go up, let prices go up. But we don't need to import sweatshop armies of workers, even temporarily, to pick our crops. We should mechanize or we should pay better wages. We don't need to have armies of quasi-slave laborers in our country.
Absolutely. I wished I had more time to get into this with you, but the book, Immigration...
Let's do it again sometime.
I hope so, John. Tell me quickly, the book, Immigration, an American First Manifesto, where can they get it? It sounds to me like it'd be a great stocking stuffer.
It's the politically incorrect guide to immigration. Politically Incorrect Guide to Immigration can get on Amazon, and some bookstores are willing to stock it. But I would say Amazon is the easiest way to get the Politically Incorrect Guide to Immigration. And you can check out my writing and Al's writing at stream.org. If I don't talk to you again, have a great Christmas.
And the very same to you, sir. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you for being on the program. Thank you much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I have a lot of respect for John Zmirak, and I'm going to have him back, and hopefully we can get a chance to talk about some of the things right at the very end there. I'm out of time, and I need to get the weather forecast on here. And let's take a look here real quick. What else have I got to do? Tomorrow on the program, I want to urge you to tune in. We're going to have Frosty Woldridge on. We're going to be talking about a lot of the same things with Frosty at 9:06. And then, of course, Dr. History is going to be on the program at 10:06. And then one of the sharp ladies that I have on my program, Megan Barth, is going to break things down politically as to where we are. And that's going to be at 10:30 tomorrow morning. Let's take a look at the weather. And it looks a little dicey out there. Let's take a look and see what they're going to say in just a moment. But first of all, the weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. And you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, and look at all the delicious meats. The tri-tips and the marinated pork ribs, they're delicious. And the prime ribs, and of course, don't forget all the bacons and the bratwurst. Oh my goodness, it's all delicious from Scarrows Meats in Jerome. Don Scarrow and the crew, they wish you and yours a very, very Merry Christmas. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Expect some snow showers for this week. Here's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Today is not going to be too bad. We're looking at mostly sunny skies with a high of 35. Tonight, we do have a slight chance of snow showers in the forecast, about a 30% chance, and areas of patchy freezing fog, low of 28. For tomorrow, that fog could persist in the morning. That's going to burn off. Mostly sunny skies by tomorrow afternoon with a high of 33. By tomorrow night, 60% chance of snow showers are likely. The winds are going to be picking up as well with a low of 30. Blowing snow, about a 50% chance of snow showers, accumulations of about an inch for Wednesday with a high of 36. Then blowing snow and partly cloudy skies for Wednesday night and a low of 20. And that's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Gina, thank you very, very much. And brought to you by Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Again, that telephone number, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Oh, my. I've got time for maybe one or two phone calls. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There have been so many different anti-Christmas stories, and one that I'm doing a little research on is out of Nebraska. A school superintendent of schools said no to all colors relating to Christmas, no green, no red, and get this. This superintendent and the school said you can't bring a candy cane to school. Now, why, you say, can't they bring a candy cane to school? Because this superintendent said no. Because it's in the shape of a J, and people will think that's Jesus. So we have to stay not political, and also no religion is going to bear a reference over to any other. So you can't have a candy cane brought to school. No Christmas trees, no red, no green. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. And then there was another story that I'm going to talk about a little bit tomorrow. A professor at a Minnesota college came out and said that the virgin birth was only to the fact that God took advantage of Mary, and that's why she was pregnant. This is the kind of garbage, filth, that the left is perpetrating against Christmas. It's insane. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I'm telling you, folks, I'm going to continue on the attack with insanity in this country and the dolts that are out there trying to promote it. I want to give a great big shout out to our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I'll be right with you. Stand by. Don't forget, all 7 locations serving you with the very best in tires, all the different tread designs, all the sizes for your cars, pickups, SUVs, whatever you need tires for, they have them. and very highly trained brake technicians to take care of the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. Absolutely, you've got to have a good battery. Turn over the engine on that four-wheeled wonder. They've got the best. So be ready for anything. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, good morning. I've got 1 minute exactly. Go.
I apologize, sir. They hung up.
Well, you don't have to apologize. By the way, do you have Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
I do, sir. It's already loaded.
What, the reindeer's loaded or the song's loaded?
Well, I imagine, the song's loaded now. I imagine the reindeers will be...
Well, we're going to remain politically incorrect, and I'm going to ask you right now to play Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and I'm going to sign off and say Merry Christmas, everybody, and the way things were, the way things ought to be, and remember, the world needs more cowboys. Wheels, good to have you back, buddy. Play Rudolph.